The distress signal crackles through the calm, a burst of static that immediately puts me on edge. I lean forward in the captain's chair, my eyes narrowing as I study the coordinates being displayed. Source of that signal? I bark out to my crew. Ensign K. Briggs, fresh out of the academy but sharp as a tack, is the first to respond. It's coming from a progenitor vessel, sir, in the outer reaches of the Sirian Nebula. A chill runs down my spine at her words. The progenitors, those smug, condescending aliens who believe they've uplifted and guided the evolution of countless species, including humanity, as if we needed their self-professed nudges to become a space-faring race. I can feel the eyes of my crew on me, their unease practically vibrating through the bridge. We've had limited dealings with the progenitors before, and they've made their arrogant disdain for US clear each time. Scan for ships in the vicinity I order, fingers drumming against the armrest. I want to know if this is some kind of trap. Kay's hands fly across the console. No other craft detected, sir, just the one progenitor ship. A bead of sweat trickles down the back of my neck as I consider our options. Regulations state we must respond to any distress signal regardless of origin, but ignoring a progenitor call could have severe repercussions for human-progenitor relations. More than that, a part of me, that reckless, headstrong part that got me reassigned to the ass end of space, burns with a desire to meet these self-proclaimed galactic elites on their own turf, to prove that humanity doesn't need their high and mighty approval to take our place among the stars. Set a course, I finally growl. We're going to investigate that signal. A chorus of "aye, sir" follows, but I can sense the tension thrumming beneath it. My XO, Lieutenant Marcus Reyes, even goes so far as to lean in close. Commander, are you sure about this? His dark eyes search mine, a hint of trepidation in their depths. These are the bloody progenitors we're talking about. I shoot him a hard look. Which is exactly why we can't ignore their call, Marcus. Play it safe, follow protocol. We go take a look, see what kind of mess they've gotten themselves into this time. He holds my gaze for a long moment before giving a curt nod, straightening up to bark out the orders that will send us hurtling toward that distant signal. The journey passes in tense silence, everyone on edge as we approach the coordinates on the view screen. The gaseous tendrils of the Sirian Nebula swirl in vibrant hues of violet and crimson, and there, adrift in that celestial maelstrom, a sleek progenitor craft slowly tumbles through the void. Reading major system failures across that vessel K reports, her delicate brow furrowed. Life support is barely holding. Looks like their engines took a hell of a beating too. So much for any notion of a trap, unless these pompous aliens have gone to ridiculous lengths to lure us here under false pretenses. Open a channel, I order. Let's see if they're in the mood to chat. Static crackles as the comm link is established, stretching taut as a tripwire. I grip the armrests, steeling myself to face that infuriatingly smug alien condescension once again. What responds is not at all what I expect. Instead of a haughty, imperious voice, what greets us is the sound of panic. Shrill alien tones cut through the static, a cacophony of fear. Unknown vessel. The words are shaped in the harsh, guttural language of the progenitors. We are adrift. Our systems failing. Request immediate aid and evacuation. I exchange a look with Marcus, his expression as confused as I'm sure mine is. The progenitors, those sworn superior beings, calling out for help from us, the humans they see as little more than clever apes? Perhaps this situation is even more dire than we suspected. This is Lieutenant Commander Zayden Kress of the Terran Alliance ship Intrepid, I respond, keeping my voice measured despite the torrent of emotion swirling inside me. We received your distress call and are prepared to render assistance. What is the nature of your issue? There's a fractured pause, as if the alien can scarcely believe my offer is genuine. When the response comes, it is tinged with a weary edge. Our ship has been compromised by an anomaly, some form of exotic energy or life form that has breached our containment systems. Our technology is unable to identify or contain it. Another stream of frantic chitters follows, dread creeping into the alien tones. It grows more unstable and volatile by the moment. We cannot restore control or initiate evacuation protocols. An anomaly beyond their lofty understanding now, that's enough to give even the proudest progenitor pause, I'd wager. I lean forward, sensing an opportunity despite the precarious situation. Understood. We're going to need to send a team aboard to assess the nature of this anomaly. Our engineers may be able to negative. The word slashes through my suggestion like a plasma blade. You will not board our vessel, human. Your crude technologies could only exacerbate the crisis. Rage flares hot in my chest at the casual insult. The insinuation that my crew and I are bumbling idiots unfit to shoving the anger aside with monumental effort. I take a measured breath. With respect, your ship has already been compromised by forces beyond your control. Allow us to render aid before it's too late. A terse silence answers me, stretching out for unbearable seconds. Just when I think they mean to let their stubborn arrogance doom them, that imperious voice returns. Very well, human. You may attempt to assist us, but do not interfere with our systems beyond addressing this anomaly. The disdain drips from each word like venom. I can't resist the urge to smirk at the half-hearted gratitude. Happy to help where we can. Preparing a boarding team now. Clicking off the comm link, I rise from the captain's chair and turn to face Marcus and the others. You heard the smug bastards. They need our help whether they want to admit it or not. My XO offers a grim smile. And you plan to give it to them good and hard, don't you, sir? That's the idea, I confirm with a brisk nod. Wake the engineering team from cryo-sleep. We're going to need Vanessa and her people ready to investigate this anomaly the second we're on that ship. Aye, aye, Commander. Marcus heads off to carry out my orders as I turn back to the view screen, studying the crippled progenitor ship with a newfound sense of resolve. Whatever this anomaly is that's got them running scared, I'll be damned if I let it be the end of these supposed galactic superiors, not when I've got a chance to open a few arrogant eyes to what humanity is really capable of. No, this is our opportunity to prove ourselves as something more than uplifted apes in their smug eyes. If we play our cards right, we may just turn the entire power dynamic of their precious galaxy on its head. The boarding ramp extends with a hiss, locking into place against the airlock of the crippled progenitor ship. I take a deep breath, tasting stale, recirculated air tinged with the faint tang of ozone. You ready for this, Commander? I turn at the gruff voice to find Chief Engineer Vanessa Ryder standing beside me, her wiry frame encased in a heavily modified hard suit. Age has streaked her auburn hair with strands of silver, but the look in her hazel eyes is as fierce as ever. Is anyone really ready to walk into a situation the supposed masters of the galaxy can't handle? I shoot her a wry smile from behind my environmental mask. Vanessa snorts, checking over her gear one last time. Those arrogant bastards wouldn't know ingenuity if it crashed their fancy-ass ship. We'll figure out whatever freaky shit is going on over there. I clap her armored shoulder, reassured by her bravado. That's what I like to hear. Let's go get to work. With Vanessa's engineering team fanning out around us, we march through the airlock and into the intestines of the alien craft. Immediately, an acrid burnt smell assaults my nostrils, the unmistakable stench of fried circuitry and ozone. Perception filters online, Vanessa murmurs beside me as we pass from the airlock into a long, curved corridor. Let's see what we're dealing with here. At her words, a complex overlay of holographic data shimmers into existence around us. System readouts, energy signatures, and anatomical schematics dance in the air, their flickering light casting harsh shadows across the bulkheads. Their environmental systems are barely functional, but the chief engineer reports after studying the data for a long moment. Air's getting thin and rad levels are rising steadily across multiple decks. Whatever's causing this anomaly has really done a number on the old girl. Agreed, but it's nothing you can't patch up with a little human ingenuity once we contain the source, right? I shoot her a significant look, knowing our prowess is doubted by the progenitors. Vanessa scowls at the dig against her skills. You know me better than that, Commander. I'll have this bird space-worthy again before you can say eat progenitors. I laugh at her brash confidence, tension easing in the face of her feisty attitude. That's what I want to hear. Where do you think we should start looking for the heart of this anomaly? The chief engineer taps commands into her forearm display, causing a holographic schematic of the progenitor vessel to materialize before us. A pulsing red node has emerged within the central drive compartment. If I had to hazard a guess, whatever weird-ass energy readings they're picking up are emanating from in here. Vanessa gestures to the throbbing red sphere. The main reactor core, which just happens to be located at the heart of this thing, of course. Of course it is, I grumble. Just had to make this as difficult as possible. I gesture for my team to follow and set off through the curving alien corridors with determination in every stride. For decades, the progenitors have made their disdain for humanity abundantly clear, their condescending belief that we are nothing more than clever animals that were uplifted thanks to their subtle genetic nudges. Well, it's high time we opened a few arrogant eyes to what human ingenuity and perseverance are really capable of. If we can neutralize this anomaly that has them all shitting their collective pants, it'll be a nice punch in the ego for good measure. My team and I finally arrive at a set of massive bulkhead doors guarding the entrance to the reactor core. They hang slightly ajar, thick tendrils of smoke leaking from the gap. Readings are going haywire, one of Vanessa's engineers reports, eyeing her arm-mounted scanner. There's a crazy energy surge building behind these doors, off the freaking charts. Hull integrity has been compromised. Another voice adds, tight with unease. Recommend maximum shielding before proceeding. I look to Vanessa, who simply rolls her eyes and nods. Time to do this thing then. Disengage safeties and boost shield output, I order into my comlink. We're going in hot. With a groan of protesting metal, the bulkhead doors grind the rest of the way open. Thick, oily smoke billows into the corridor, lit from within by a sickly crimson radiance. Undeterred, we forge ahead, following the flickering haze toward the reactor core until it finally clears to reveal nothing like what I'd been expecting. The progenitor ship's cylindrical reactor chamber is in ruins, a gaping crater blasted in the reinforced deck around a roiling sphere of pulsating scarlet energy. It hovers there, emitting arcs of lambent power that crackle across nearby bulkheads and consoles, reducing them to molten ruin. What the hell? Vanessa utters the words we're all thinking. I step forward, drawn toward the roiling anomaly despite the instinctive warning screaming through my brain. The energy sphere seems to react to my presence, the angry scarlet hue shifting toward a pale, probing violet. Commander, be careful, Vanessa hisses a warning, but I shake my head. Whatever this thing is, it's clearly sentient, I murmur back. Maybe as if in response to my words, a shockwave of concussive force detonates from the heart of the anomaly, sending everyone staggering back, except me. I alone remain rooted in place, seemingly untouched by the energy burst. Who are you? The words seem to echo directly inside my mind, a booming, inhuman voice resonating in my thoughts. You are not like the others. Against all logic, I wet my lips in attempt to address whatever existence this pulsing anomaly is. My name is Zayden Kress, Lieutenant Commander of the Terran Alliance Starship Intrepid. We were called here to assist and render aid. The anomaly swells in size, tendrils of ruby energy lashing out at me, though they seem to inflict no harm. The peculiar violet hue deepens. You speak truth, human. I sense no deception in you. Why would one such as you risk themselves to aid these progenitors? I frown at that, pondering the question. Because it's the right thing to do, no matter how they may look down on my people. Ah, yes, they believe they uplifted and guided your species towards sentience, a laughable fallacy. Those words give me pause. What do you mean? Who or what are you? The energy sphere contracts briefly as if considering its response. When the voice returns, it vibrates with eons of stored knowledge. I am Delic, the last surviving caretaker of a people lost to the ravages of time, a guardian entrusted with the custodianship of technologies beyond your comprehension. My breath catches at the enormity of that revelation. Before I can respond, the entity called Delic continues in a thunderous mental barrage. The progenitors did not uplift your species, human. They merely guided the path of your kind by funneling you toward their concept of an acceptable evolutionary path. But you are not their creation. You are the inheritors of a far older, more profound legacy, one even the eldest of their kind has long forgotten. Shock washes over me like a physical force, stealing the breath from my lungs. We aren't an uplifted species, mere creations of these supposed galactic deities? No, according to this entity, this Delic humanity is something far greater. The awareness tugs at my understanding of the universe, both thrilling and terrifying in its scope. What legacy lies dormant in humanity's past, waiting to be unlocked by the stars? I breathe out the oath as a dizzying array of possibilities clamor through my mind. Movement draws my attention back to the cavernous chamber, where Vanessa and her engineers are regaining their footing from Delic's earlier shockwave. Commander, what's happening? Vanessa's voice crackles over the comm with a note of panic. Our readings are going haywire. I tear my gaze from the roiling anomaly, from Delic's pulsating form, to find the chief engineer staring at me with wide, disbelieving eyes. The rest of her team has weapons raised defensively, clearly unnerved by whatever just transpired. Stand down, I order sharply, raising a placating hand. This entity doesn't mean us harm. At least not yet. With all due respect, sir, I'm getting massive energy spikes from that thing that say otherwise. Vanessa checks her forearm scanner with a worried frown. Radiation levels are climbing rapidly too. We can't stick around much longer without shielding upgrades." The words have scarcely left her lips when a series of thunderous detonations rips through the chamber. I instinctively hunch down, bracing myself as explosive force washes over us in pulsing waves. Scarlet light fills my vision as Delix seems to swell in size and intensity, ruby tendrils of power lashing across every surface with wanton destruction. Conduits rupture, bulkheads groan, consoles and displays explode into showers of sparks. "What did you do?" I demand, struggling against the blistering forces being unleashed. "I am trying to stabilize," Human Delix's thunderous voice echoes directly in my mind once more. "This vessel's primitive containment systems cannot hold me for much longer. I must break free or be torn apart." Sure enough, all around, more structural groaning and tortured screams of sundering metal fill the air as the progenitor ship is steadily demolished from within. Even the protective barriers on our suits are bleeding energy rapidly. With a tremendous shudder, the compromised reactor chamber exhales a final sigh and ruptures entirely. Gusting shockwaves of force send me tumbling across the buckling deck plating, my helmet slamming against the ground hard enough to crack the faceplate. Panic grips me as the thin air of the chamber rapidly evacuates into the void, sweeping shards of razor-edged debris and searing plasma in its wake. I scramble to clamp shut the breach in my helmet, gasping for breath in the sudden vacuum as warning signals blare across my display. "Hold on, human." Delix's voice is a deafening roar, vibrating in my very bones as the anomaly's energy spike to incandescent fury. I roll onto my back just in time to witness it, an implosion of matter and energy so extreme that even the vacuum around us seems to warp and shimmer. For an endless heartbeat, the void itself seems to wink out around that apocalyptic singularity. And then it's like the core of a newborn star blazes outward, Delix's energies propagating in a near solid disk of annihilating force. I squeeze my eyes shut against the punishing glare, arms shielding my face, only to find that instead of being atomized, I'm somehow held immobile within the influx sheath of that inconceivable radiance. These feeble progenitors thought to contain me within their primitive technologies. Delix's voice rumbles all around with a sense of smug contempt. I am far beyond their comprehension or control. As abruptly as it arrived, the stellar conflagration dissipates, whisked away into the void along with every last remnant of the ruined reactor chamber. Only Delix remains, a scintillating sphere of energy now hovering just before me, but tendrils of coruscating power undulating across its surface. With a reverential sense of awe, I realize I'm the only being present in this ephemeral sanctuary. The ravaged progenitor vessel conspicuously absent from the strange spatial abnormality around us, where my voice rasps from a dry throat as I struggle to make sense of this impossible situation. We exist in a dimensional interstitial. Delix's voice rumbles with what I can only describe as smugness. A slipstream between realms of existence, unbound by your species' paltry understanding of physics. The progenitors believed they could contain me here, as though I were little more than another in a long progression of harnessed technologies. I absorbed those words, my mind reeling at the implications and unfathomable power, seemingly able to slip between dimensions at will and treat the laws of physics like mere suggestions, kept caged and studied by these so-called superior beings. But why? I find myself asking, a whispered rasp. What are you exactly? For a long moment, Delix seems to consider how best to respond. When it does, the mental serration that replies holds a weight and substance that staggers me. I am the last of the etheric guardians, constructs born from a culture and civilization that rose to the pinnacle of advancement long before these piteous progenitors emerged from the primordial ooze. We were shepherds of technologies so profound, so revolutionary, that our creators saw fit to sequester portions of our sentience as advisors and minders to these almost godlike abilities. The entity seems to swell with self-importance, practically radiating scorn for the upstart races now ascendant across this modern universe. The progenitors discovered one of our vault keeps eons ago, a storehouse that contained technologies beyond their ability to recreate or even comprehend fully. Over the slow cycle of billions of years, they did their best to reverse engineer and codify the knowledge contained within, but they remained as ants studying the work of deities, never truly grasping the substance behind the shapes. They called these discoveries the Arcana and built their entire technological empire around a pitiful sliver of my ancestors' genius. Then, for reasons unknown, they elected to harness the vault's sole remaining custodian, myself, in a futile effort to unravel and subjugate every last errant byte of data for their own use. Understanding blossoms inside me, day a searing epiphany igniting synapses in my brain. We didn't just stumble onto some strange anomaly plaguing the progenitors. We found the key to an entire hidden universe of long-buried marvels. The idea is almost too staggering to contemplate. As if sensing my turmoil, Delic's luminescent form pulses with a shimmering cadence. Now you begin to grasp the enormity of what you have discovered, human. Your species are not the elevated simians dismissed by the progenitors. You are inheritors of a legacy unspoken for untold millions of years. It was my creators who first unveiled the path of sentience and self-direction for your kind. We acted not as deific overlords prescribing your development, but as catalysts that allowed your evolutionary potential to emerge and flourish naturally. Delic's tendrils of coruscating power billow outward, forming complex fractal geometries that spiral away into the transdimensional void around us. If you wish to stake your rightful claim to this bounteous inheritance, then I must awaken you to ancient vaults and repositories long sealed against the meddlings of progenitors. It is to you, human Zayden Cress, that I offer a choice: accept the role your species were truly born for, or turn aside from your destiny and wither into meager obscurity on the vine of these galactic primitives. The offer, the audacious, reality-shattering offer, hangs in the air with palpable weight. To accept means not only defying the authority of the progenitors and their precious galactic order, but rewriting the fundamental underpinnings of everything we thought we knew. In that moment, every fiber of my being screams out for me to seize this opportunity, this glorious uncertainty. Who am I to defy the fires of ambition seared into my species' very essence by the godlike beings that first set us on this path to the stars? My lips peel back in a savage grin as I make my decision, sidestepping centuries of doctrine and hierarchy in a single insolent stride. When do we start? Delic's luminescent form seems to shimmer with anticipation at my acceptance. Coruscating energies ripple across its spherical surface, reaching out in exploratory tendrils toward me. Your decision is a prudent one. Human, the ancient entity's thunderous voice intones. Though I must caution you, the path ahead will not be simple, nor without grave peril. You have glimpsed but a fraction of the forbidden truths that were to remain quarantined until your species reached a plateau of true comprehension. As if in emphasis, those questing tendrils of power intensify, lancing toward my mind with the essence of half-forgotten epiphanies. Fragmented alien concepts blossom behind my eyes, tantalizing shards of eldritch understanding that my limited neurology can't begin to process. I cry out at the overwhelming deluge, dropping to one knee and clutching at my temples. It feels as if the core of my being is being rewritten through sheer force, archaic ciphers scorched into the bedrock of my consciousness. Just as I fear my mind will shatter under the onslaught, it abruptly relents. Delic's energies recede, withdrawing back into its pulsing spherical form. My apologies, the entity rumbles in what passes for contrition. It has been countless epochs since I last imparted the first truths to a corporeal mind. Your eagerness is commendable, if somewhat unbecoming of a custodian of such grand technologies. But very well, let the lessons begin. The simulacrum around us shudders and lurches, reforming again into something almost unrecognizable. Shimmering panels and crystalline spars unfold in maddening geometric splendor, transforming the humble interior into a breathtaking cathedral of alien energies. What you are about to experience represents but a fraction of what my creators so magnanimously bestowed upon your fledgling species, a fragment of the arcana, the primordial sciences of enlightenment. Prepare your consciousness and try not to let it shatter this time. Before I can register protest or warning, that deluge of sensory overload crashes over me once more. But this time, instead of disjointed shards of half-awareness, the neural pathways in my brain ignite with purpose. Alien blueprints and impossibly complex schematics overwhelm my vision, fractal geometries rewriting the very fabric of reality around me. I feel myself expanding, transcending the rigid physical boundaries that previously constrained my perceptions. It's as if the pillars upholding my belief in the immutable natural laws governing our universe have been pulled away, replaced by an overarching and universal framework where the building blocks of existence are merely components to be remade and reforged however I decree. Coruscating topologies of energy and matter bloom before my mind's eye, seeds of understanding germinating into blossoms of enlightenment beyond mortal ken.